tips for listening and reading skills. Here we have a brief but very useful list of tips for teaching listening and reading in our classrooms. Tip number 1. Listen and read with a purpose. Every time we have a reading or listening activity in our class, let's provide specific comprehension exercises, each of them with a clear purpose that goes beyond only reading or listening to the material. That means that every time we have any of these kinds of activities, we must also create or give to students some extra follow-up activities or an extra task to do after listening to or reading the material. For example, an exercise could be about students listening to the audio with the purpose of identifying the speaker's habits when she was younger. So we understand that after listening to the recording, students will complete some comprehension exercises based on identifying the speaker's habits. Tip number 2, use a variety of resources. Teachers have now at their disposal a wide variety of listening and reading material to include in their lessons. Based on your students' CEFR level, needs, and interests, look for resources that they can find helpful and engaging. Be as creative as possible. You can find, for example, audios, videos such as TV commercials, TV series, movie segments, YouTubers, and so on. Songs, for example, and also pair word activities, books, stories, anecdotes, menus, and so much more. Number 3, promote active listening and reading. So, as we mentioned before, students must have an active role during listening and reading exercises. They must be thinking about any possible answers, predictions about the material, or ideas. To really improve their skills, students need more than just listening to the material or reading resources. Tip number 4, keep it real. Teachers can take advantage of the listening and reading material available online. Teachers are also encouraged to integrate authentic resources, which means material not designed for English students, but for the general public, such as movie trailers, songs, TV commercials, TV show scenes, stories, books, magazines, newspaper articles, and so much more. Listening and reading stages. As you know, listening and reading are divided into different stages or they follow a sequence. So the first step in the sequence is pre-listening and pre-reading. So this is a stage to activate students' prior knowledge or experiences by introducing the topic and finding out what they already know about. So in this stage, we can have, for example, speaking activities with some discussion questions to set the context about the audio material or reading material. And we can also check or review any useful vocabulary that is going to be part of the text or audio. Second stage, during listening or during reading. In this second step, students interact with the reading or listening material by completing a set of comprehension exercises. So in the second stage, students listen to the material or read the material And after doing that, they can work on the comprehension activities, true and false, multiple choice, matching activities, and so on. Step number 3, pause listening or pause reading. In the pause listening or pause reading stage, students go beyond the listening material or texts and use them for having further language practice. This practice can be speaking or writing. Just make sure that right after completing a receptive skill activity, you end it up or you put it all together with a productive activity, such as speaking or writing. Here we have, for example, a listening activity based on the song Happier. So as a pre-listening activity, students will get in small groups and they will discuss the following questions. What's your favorite song? Do you like happy or sad songs? Mention a song that makes you happy. And this is an activity for an A1 or A1 plus CEFR level. And here we have the materials that we will need for this activity. Then, in our second stage, where students really have contact with the material, students will listen to the song and they will complete the comprehension exercises in this worksheet. And after, of course, checking the answers of the worksheet, students will work on the post listening activity. So because this song is about pets and about animals, students will write down a composition following this model on the square presented about their favorite animal or pet. And students will take turns sharing their texts in small groups. And that is how we carry out a listening activity following the 3 different stages and finishing up the activity with a productive skill, such as writing.